Hello and welcome to
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
Indeed.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment. So this week I'm going to go first. And I'm going to talk about The Mother. That's on Netflix.
The Mother.
Yeah, so The Mother. Sorry, I'm getting a little too snazzy with it. But so it is the new movie on Netflix that came out, I think it was Mother's Day weekend, with Jennifer Lopez. And she plays the mother. She does not have a character name. Her name is the mother. So
Oh, nice.
she has no name, at least on the cast list. She has a daughter who is Zoe, who's played by Lucy Perez. Or Pez, sorry. You have Omari Hardwick, who plays William Cruz, and he's the gentleman who played in Power, for those of you who watch that on Stars. You have Edie Falco, who, of course, played Tony Soprano's wife on The Sopranos, and Joseph Fiennes, who people just know from various things. He plays Adrian Lovell, and I think I forgot to say that Edie plays Eleanor Williams. And so those are the main characters that people would probably recognize. There's other characters in the movie as well, but those are kind of the main ones. And so really the movie just starts off kind of with a bang. You just see Jennifer being kind of interviewed by this group of, I guess you would say feds, who are trying to get her to turn state's evidence and talk and go into witness protection in regards to some interesting characters that she had previously worked with and engaged with. And so it starts off with her just sitting in a chair, kind of looking like she's getting a little bit interrogated. And then it moves on to her, not even her, but the agents that are in the room with her kind of having an assault come on them because people found that where she was. So they're trying to get to her so that she doesn't turn state's evidence and all of that. And so they come after her. And in the process of doing so, some of the agents die. Omari gets shot. There's a lot that kind of goes on. And she ends up having to kind of fight back. And as she's fighting back, you recognize this woman is pregnant. And this is all in the first 10 minutes, So you realize that this woman is pregnant. And the guy who actually could potentially be the father of the baby is Adrian Lovell, who is Joseph Fiennes. And he stabs her in the stomach. Even though it could possibly be his baby. So it's kind of like an interesting dynamic there. And you just see her kind of in the shower holding her stomach like, oh my gosh, what's going on. She kind of does something that maybe sort of kind of takes care of him, so to speak. And then next thing you know, she's waking up and Edie Falco is there and saying, we're taking this baby from you. And we're going to put it in the foster system and it's going to have a good home. And you are being hunted. So you should really want this for your child if you want to keep them safe.
Oh, wow.
And so she agrees and signed this paper to release all, rights to her daughter, who is Zoe. And she goes about living her life. And then all of a sudden she realizes, because she did ask Omari, she said, look, all I ask for you to do, I'll sign this document, everything. You just have to give me updates when I ask for them about my daughter. That's all I want to know. I just want to know she's safe. I want to know what's going on in her life. Just keep me posted. And he was like, sure. So all of a sudden it became a situation where maybe now the daughter wasn't safe where she was. And so the mother, as in Jennifer Lopez, kind of kicks into high gear and wants to protect her daughter at all costs. And that's really where the story begins. And it has a lot of action, I feel like the most I've seen her in this kind of action role was probably that movie Enough.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when she really had to box and fight and all of that? So she's definitely doing a lot of that kind of physical acting and, emotion of being a parent who the daughter doesn't know this is the parent. She
but
just
then
knows
also
this lady's coming to
But then she's not a typical
her.
mother, right?
She's
not a mother.
She's not. Well, she's never been around, the daughter in this instance. And so when she does finally see the daughter, and, the daughter's like, who the heck are you? And it's almost annoying the daughter in a way because it's like, okay, these people have you captive and you're complaining that somebody who's trying to save you is like, you're hurting my arm. And it's like, just calm down.
But she doesn't even know who this woman
she
is.
Doesn't,
so also it could be like, you could be trying to kidnap me as well.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like if you're already in the hands of some pretty bad people, like maybe you'll be a little more lenient to somebody who's a woman who's coming to try to save you from these pretty bad men, kind of scenario. And you don't know it's your mother, of course. But,
true,
but then when she sees Omari, she's like, oh my gosh. And she runs up to him because he's been a constant fixture in her life because he's been trying to keep an eye on what's been going on with her. And so, and then she does flat out ask Jennifer Lopez if, are you my mother? And I won't say, what she says to her, but basically I thought it was a pretty good movie in regards to the action, and I could say almost that it probably pre-COVID would have been a movie theater movie.
Okay.
Versus being something that's just a streaming movie. So I just felt like, it was entertaining. It kept you on a ride the entire time. It wasn't a lot of lull. It wasn't a lot of downtime. It's like, even if it was just straight story being told, it was entertaining enough that it kept your attention, and it was putting pieces of a puzzle together, so to speak, and trying to figure out what exactly is going on, who can you trust, just, what skills she had in her arsenal to be able to like fight back against all these men. And like, she was tactical. Like she had some skills, and so
she's like
it was
Liam
pretty,
Neeson.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that, like Taken. It was like, I will hunt you down and I will find you. So, but yeah, I personally really enjoyed it. It is still one of the top 10 shows right now on Netflix for people to watch if they are interested. And I just thought it was a pretty decent show. I actually ended up movie. Yeah, I actually ended up watching it. Well, I watched it once all the way through, and then watched it almost again because our mom was here, and we ended up watching it, and I was kind of in and out of watching it again. So, but it still was very entertaining, even looking at it the second time. So, so that is The Mother on Netflix, starring J-Lo. So.
It sounds like the action-packed movie.
Yeah, it was. It was. And, it's good to have a female heroine.
Yes, true.
And someone who is, just out there kicking butt and taking names. So it was good. Yeah. So what do you have, sis?
All right. So what I have, bear with me, everyone, is a musical. Okay.
I cannot believe you have a musical.
All right, because it's Grease. That's why. Oh. Okay, so it's Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, and you have a love and a passion.
I love Grease. I love Grease because I watched when I was little. You know what I'm saying? That's the songs that I know and I like. And they have a couple of the original songs in it, but I'll get to all of that.
And but I just will say for the record, I am the anomaly who has never in my life watched Grease all the way through, and nobody.
I've never seen Hamilton, so it's
understands that. But see, Grease has been out forever. Like Hamilton, it kind of is more understandable.
Yeah, but I feel like everybody
Grease
saw
is
Hamilton at the same time. You know?
Yeah, maybe, but yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because I have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
All right, that's cool.
So
that's cool. I mean, there's nothing that you really have to contribute, so it's fine. Right. It's absolutely fine.
Wonderful.
All right, so just to start off with the cast, well, first of all, let me let you know that this is a few years before Sandy and Danny
show up. Okay, got it.
Before they're even in school.
Okay, got it.
Well, I think they might be in middle school at this time. Okay, because there's a girl who looks like Frenchie, sounds like Frenchie, who is the sister of the main character, and I believe that is where it's going with that generation. All right, so just to go over the cast. Some of these people I have seen before, and some of them I haven't. So you have Maria Davila, who is Jane, who is the main character. You have Cheyenne Isabel Wells, who is Olivia. Okay. You have Ari I'm going to butcher that, as Cynthia. You have Trisha Farukahara. I could get that, but I can't get the other name. That's funny. As Nancy. And then you have Chanel Bailey as Hazel. Now you do have, and these are going to be the Pink Ladies. All right. Okay. This is going to be the crew. Now you do have the T-Birds still. So you have Nathan Naives, who is Richie. He's one of the guys in the T-Birds. You have Nicholas McDonough Gill, who is one of the T-Birds, and Alexis Sides and Maximo Salas. Okay, those are the guys who are the T-Birds. Okay. You do have the jocks still. So you have the main two jocks that you're going to see all the time is Jason Schmidt, who's playing Buddy, who is another like main character. Okay. And Maxwell Whittington Cooper, who is also a jock, and then you have some of the what are they? The cheerleaders, the pom pom girls or whatever, and you have Madison Thompson who plays Suzanne, who is another main character. You have some other ones, but they don't really have many talking roles. So.
Okay.
All right. So with this, like I said, it's before Sandy and Danny, but it's still in Rydell. Okay. So you still get some of the same things that you got from the original Grease, as far as some of the same activities and some of the same scenes. So there's still going to be the bonfire, the pep rally, and things like that. So it will still be that. It will still be the diner, but other things will change. You still see the field and the tracks, the track and field and all this other stuff. So you still see all of that.
Okay.
Now, so this is a story of basically how the Pink Ladies become. Okay, so the Pink Ladies basically is just anyone who was an outcast or a nerd or any girl who was called fast. It was like, well, if you're going to categorize, I cannot talk. If you're going to categorize me as that, then I'm going to put myself in this own category with these people.
Yeah.
And so it's just a bunch of people. It's just a bunch of girls who were just like, if we're going to be the outcasts and we're going to be the ones who are just weird to your standards, then you know what? Then we're gonna go ahead and do this together and now,
embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it. Now, I will tell you this: Nancy is my favorite.
Oh, okay.
She's funny. She's hilarious. I love her, and she's just like, oh yeah, all right. So I made jackets, and then like the jackets were like the Black Widows, and then she had to where it was like you could pull down something and there would be like blood or something like that from the jacket, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna skip the jacket right now. But she did get all the jacket stuff. But she is actually the main one. Like, she has a lot of good ideas, and she's so far beyond what everybody else is. So it's like everybody else is still in 1950. She's in like 2000. Like, she's dressing however she wants to dress. She's doing whatever she wants to do. So she's already ahead of the curve. Everybody else is like, oh, I want to be like this. I want to dress like this. So that's how you get the Pink Ladies together. Now, let me see. There's still that Romeo and Juliet, you know, without that kind of Romeo and Juliet type. The good guys, bad guys. The good falls in love with the bad, and how are we going to deal with this? Minus the death. Okay. So you still got that same thing as with Grease. You know, the good girl, bad boy. But there's also bad boy, good girl in this. So, you know, it gets into a good much. But there is a student council president story within it that's kind of cute. But it kind of hits home because of the fact that it's similar to how they have like the conspiracies about voting, counting votes and everything like that, right, as of right now. Okay. So that's where it's kind of like funny how they do that. The songs, some of the original songs are still part of it, and then there are some newer songs. The newer songs, if I didn't fast forward through them, I just muted them and just read the words, because I still have to have the songs for the storyline to know exactly what's going on, which it was a lot of muting and a lot of fast forwarding, and then it's like, oh wait, I need to rewind so I can know what happened in that song. But I would say this: if it wasn't a musical, it would still be a good show. Okay. It would be a really good show. Now, as far as I think I'm at episode 4 or 5 or something like that in it.
Is it one of those that's getting released slowly? Or is it that it all dropped at once? It's
getting released slowly. Okay. So it is, it's 10 episodes, and as of right now, we are at, let me see. Oh, no, wait. We are at episode 6. So I've been up to 6, so we still have some left over. But I will say that, yeah, like I said, it's on Paramount Plus. I didn't say that. Okay. Paramount Plus, and it is, I mean, how they did this whole thing was kind of cute, because it goes into where it's going to be women empowerment as well as just equality. So it goes into a whole equality type thing when it comes to the show. And then it's just, I don't know, I like it. Like, I like how they're just taking things that happen in the future. I mean, things that happen in the past, and bringing in things from the future to put it all together into one nice little cupcake for you to devour. So, So it is cute how they did all of that. I love that. Like the empowerment is amazing. Some people don't like it. Some people say like it's too woke or whatever, but I still like it. But it doesn't meet the standards of like the normal TV shows that you would normally see, where it's going to be like, it's not going to be a normal musical. Let's take Glee and like mix it with what was the name of that one with the ladies?
The ladies?
Yeah, I had all the ladies that were part of the Shafley. Was it Miss America? Not Miss America.
What are you talking about? She Said? No, not She Said. What?
No, it was a show. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Okay. It's okay. I'm about to look it up.
Oh, you're talking about the one that had Margot Martindale in it, and some people who were playing all the different ladies who were. Yeah, what was that called?
What was that?
I remember that. That was really good. Did we ever talk about that one?
Yeah, we talked about it. I think I might have talked about it.
It had Rose Byrne in it because she was the one who was playing.
It is Mrs.
Gloria
America.
Steinem
It's Mrs. America.
Okay, Gloria Steinem.
Gloria Steinem.
Yeah, Steinem. Thank you.
So it is. I mean, it's like basically mixing those together.
Empowerment with some music.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, I almost gave up because of the music, and I told you that. I said I might give up, and I cut it off quite a few times. But I did keep going back to it because I was like, just mute the songs and then just read what the words say. Yeah, I was like, why didn't I think of that before?
But, for everything, every musical.
I know, but then, well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But so that was just basically the rundown of Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. And I think it's cute. I think it's a wholesome show that the family can watch.
Oh, everybody can watch? Oh.
Well, I mean like teenagers.
Okay, because that's what I was going to say. Is it something that...
Because there is did she go all the way? That kind of talk.
Stuff,
but I mean, but that's from like the 50s anyway. So like, I don't know. Was that the 50s with the poodle skirts and everything? I think it was the 50s, right?
Yeah, probably.
40s,
I think
50s?
so. 50s,
I don't know. Yeah. So, but I mean, I do like it. So if you're into musicals, you'll definitely love it. Musicals are not my thing, but the storyline is there. So I do love that. And it is called Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. And if anybody loved Grease, then this gives you that head start.
Yeah, exactly.
Of
because
the
this is going to be, I would say, 4 years before the actual movie.
Grease, yeah. And it gives a good open door to other scenarios too. Like, okay, what about after Sandy? And like, what other scenarios can they come up with? Or could they do 4 straight years of leading up to Sandy?
They could. And then, another thing that they could do, well, I don't know, maybe. But, I mean, how they did the show, I would say this. How they did the show makes it to where it is setting it up for the younger generation who is not going to look at something from 1978. Yeah. To get them to watch this and be like, oh, it's a remake of something else. And then that will get them to go back and watch Grease and Grease 1 and Grease 2.
Got it.
And that could open up that door. But
that's a good point. It probably does that quite a bit for prequels, too. Yeah. So, all right.
But so that's all I have. What do you have next?
I have the Citadel, or Citadel. I don't even think it's the Citadel, on Amazon Prime. And it features Priyanka Chopra as Nadia Sin.
Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Oh, but on the cast list, it does not say Jonas, but you're correct. Yeah. Priyanka Chopra Jonas. You have Richard Madden as Madison Kane. You have Stanley Tucci, who is one of my favorites, honestly.
Absolutely. Everybody loves Stanley Tucci.
And he's Bernard Orlick. And Leslie Manville plays Dahlia Archer. And then you have Roland Moeller, and he plays 2 characters. He plays twins, like evil conniving twins. And so the Silje brothers, I guess you would say. So anyway, those are the main characters for this particular cast. And, the Citadel, I have to say, I have fallen asleep on it twice.
Yeah, I haven't started it because I feel like it's not going to be that good.
Very first episode, fell asleep on it twice. Finally got through the first episode, and I was like, all right, let me see if I can make it through the second. I honestly thought I fell asleep on it twice and then went back and said, oh, I'm in the second episode, so let me start with the second episode. And when I started with the second episode, I was like, nope.
You missed a lot?
I don't even know what any of this is. So I fell asleep on the first episode twice. I thought I fell asleep once on the first and once on the second. So you don't like this show? Okay, so I'm trying to figure it out. This show has a lot going on, and I could not believe the episodes are like 35 to 40 minutes, and I could have sworn it was an hour and a half.
Oh wow! Yeah, for you to fall asleep in 35 minutes twice.
So I was just like, what is going on here? So I finally, when I made it through the first episode, let me kind of give a little backstory of this. Okay. So this is basically about a group called the Citadel. Like everybody, works for the Citadel. So basically, in the first episode, you have the two main characters, Nadia and Mason, and they are like acting like they're a couple, like they're just around each other and acting like they're a couple and they're on some train or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, okay, interesting. And you see this in the preview too. And so you see them like, and you can tell that they're probably like either some kind of FBI or CIA or spies or something. You just don't know exactly who they are, but you know that there's somebody, that's doing some covert operation. So you see them talking about, you see him over there, and they're talking about this particular person, and then they separate from each other, and they're kind of moving around the train and different things. And so she walks up to this guy and throws on some lipstick and sits down and, is very flirty and talking to the guy, and then all of a sudden she like pulls out a gun underneath the table on him, and she was like, don't move, whatever. She was, acting all innocent. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, now I know who you are. Yeah. Well, little did she know, they knew who she was when she walked into the train. So therefore, all of a sudden, gunshots were just erupting. Like every bartender, every steward,
everybody who works there,
every waiter, like everybody is pulling out guns and ready to shoot, like protecting this one guy. And so she and Mason now have to kind of fend for themselves, and they're fighting, and they're how you like spin against each other's backs, and you do this and you kick and you this and that. So they're again another very active and I guess you would say action-packed and women fighting and all of that kind of stuff show to watch. And so
now let me ask you a question. Yeah. Now with this fighting, is this like you could see people actually fighting, or is this like exaggerated fighting where it's like nobody's gonna fly through the air doing this kind of stuff? Well, I mean like nobody's gonna do like a flip in the air while shooting or nothing like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Okay. I haven't seen that, but it's close. Close, but not quite that. But it's more, I guess, realistic fighting to a degree. The shooting is not realistic at all. Like all those bullets flying, somebody should have gotten hit between the two of them when you got all these people in the room shooting at you. Like that wasn't really believable. But so anyway, so then it's like, hey, my gun's not working. Oh, let me give you this one out of my back pocket. Okay, this and that and da-da-da-da-da. So it's like a lot going on. So then what ends up happening is that the original guy that she's trying to go after, again, all of this is like in the first 10 minutes. Okay. The original guy that she's trying to go after, he ends up sitting there and he was shot. She shot him and he has a bomb. So what does he do? He blows up the car of the train and it just flashes forward. So you don't know who lived, who died, what happened. So all of a sudden you see Mason in the hospital and they're basically telling him he has amnesia. He just doesn't remember who he is at all. Okay. And he truly doesn't. It's not even though it's like this fake scenario of him pretending like he doesn't so that he can hide. And because everybody thinks he's dead, he just doesn't remember. And so based on that, he goes and lives his life and they like jump ahead to 8 years later. And you're like, okay, sounds good. So he jumps ahead. He's now married. He's got a daughter. He's on the roof fixing it and, putting up gutters or whatever. Like he's just living his life as a normal, everyday person, even though he was a spy. Okay. And so nobody in his surroundings knows he was a spy. And so what ends up happening, now mind you, this part right here that I'm talking about is like maybe 30 minutes in. This is the part I didn't get to till the third time I tried to watch it. So it's just kind of like, whew, okay, I finally, and you would think all the action-packedness of it all, I would
have you into it, like enthralled.
Enthralled, but no, not this go around. So anyway, come to find out, Stanley Tucci kind of comes and kind of sweeps him and his family up and basically is like, we have to protect you. You have been trying to figure out who you are and you put your information from your DNA into a database. And because you did that, now everybody knows you're alive. Everybody who didn't know you were alive knows you're alive, and people are trying to kill you, which he's like, why would anybody be trying to kill me?
Yeah,
so Stanley Tucci has to give him his backstory of, you're a part of the Citadel. You were a spy. Here's pictures of you. Here's video of you. You know, this is things that you said. You and I used to be friends, like all those kind of things. And so based on that, that's when kind of the story begins. So it
starts
kind
to
of
take
like,
off.
Yep, starts to take off. And it's all about him trying to discover who he is and what his former past was, while also trying to help his wife to understand, who also had a traumatic brain injury that messed up her memory. And so based on that, they met actually in a facility where people who lost their memory, you know, kind of get together and get counseling and stuff like that. So that's how they met. And so he's trying to kind of keep her, you know, her mind at ease, like, hey, I'm a spy. Didn't know I was a spy. I got to go do some spy stuff because people know me as a spy. And if I'm with you, I'm making you and our daughter have a dangerous situation. So I have to go off to like Spain and do some spy stuff. I'll be back. I'll call you as frequently as I can. You know, love you. Bye.
But like, how do you just say I'm going to do some spy stuff and you don't remember what you were doing?
Exactly. So what Stanley Tucci did, which was kind of interesting, when he first told him, you're a spy, and the guy was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That can't be true. He threw a knife at his head, and he caught it.
Not a long kiss goodnight. Not the long kiss goodnight.
So once he caught it, Stanley Tucci was like, see, you some things, like your mind doesn't remember, but your body remembers, your reflexes remember. So when you get into a situation in which you have to use all of your skills and tactical and fighting and all of this, it'll come back to you. Like the skills for your body will come back to you, even if your memory doesn't come back to you. So there were instances in which some things would come up where he had to act like he knew somebody because they knew him and they knew he was now alive. So he's like, oh, we need that person to help us with something. So let me walk in and act like I know, and somebody's feeding him information in his ear, so that way it's like, oh yeah, that's his son. And he was like, well, is your son going to play in the play box outside, or is he going to sit in here and bother us this whole meeting? Like, you know, he's like being a little jerk because they said he was a jerk before and all of this kind of stuff. So anyway, that's interesting. And then you have Priyanka. I mean, I might as well say it because you know she ain't die in the train. Like, why would you have the two main characters die in the train? So then she wakes up and she's handcuffed to a bed. So she's like, wait a minute, somebody helped me to get to being healthy enough to be here from a train accident, and they're going to handcuff me to the bed. What's up with that? So she has a whole ordeal that she has to deal with. And guess what? Her memory is gone too. So that's weird. It is very interesting. And that's kind of part of a storyline. Okay. Then you have another story. That's the thing that is it's so much going on this that I'm like, okay. So then you have the lady who is actually like, I don't know what she is. I felt like she's like a political figure, but again, I might have slept on that part. I don't know.
Literally slept on
that part. But I think she's a political figure. But the lady Leslie Manville playing Dahlia Archer, she is somebody who just bosses people around. Like, she has goons that just do a bunch of work for her. The twins do the work for her. Like, everybody does things for her. And she just tells people what they're going to do. And no, you're not going to say that to me. And I need this Citadel case that is in this highly secure location. And you're going to bring it to me, or else I know where your wife is. I know where your children are. I will kill the dog. I will kill everybody. So she is evil, like an evil person. And so she gets joy out of people being tortured. Like, she's interesting. She's out there. And so she has her own storyline that you're following as well. And it kind of merges with the Citadel people because she's trying to get the Citadel case. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is there was this group, and that's why they were all on the train. This group was trying to take out every Citadel agent so that they could run things however they wanted to. So that's why the two of them were targeted on the train. Okay. Is because this group was trying to infiltrate the Citadel and either turn people to go to their group by torture and turn them, or, turn the spy.
Where is this based out of?
Part of it's in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, part of it is like, Northern Virginia, like, something like that. And then they also have, but they've been in Spain. I think they said something about Italy. They've had parts of Utah. Like,
okay. So it's all over.
Yeah.
But it is in the United States.
Yeah,
okay.
Most of it's in the United States. Some of it has been overseas. Okay. And then they are saying it like the Citadel has all these safe houses all over, like hundreds of safe houses all over the world. So if something happens and you find yourself in this situation, then you can go to a safe house. And then these are where the safe houses are. Well, the interesting thing is that Priyanka's character ends up getting her memory back. His character doesn't. Oh. And so based on that, she's like, I can find the safe houses. I can give you some insight into who you used to be. I can help train you again on how you used to fight and, just different things like that and give him some insight. So the two of them have to work together.
Do you trust that person? Because
that is his question.
Memory. Yeah.
His question was, can I trust you? And she said, this isn't the first time you've asked me that question. So then he's looking at her like, well, what's the answer?
I know, right? Exactly.
And then he also has to keep his wife at bay because his wife is like, wait, you're working with this woman? Like,
yeah.
And this is somebody you knew from before.
Yeah,
and so what's going on there? And he's like, I don't even remember. So then he's asking Priyanka, did we have a thing? And she's like, and it's like, okay, so like he said, I don't remember anything about my past. I don't remember a thing. All I remembered is a vision of your face. Like I had a glimpse of your face that would pop into my dreams or pop into things. And then she ended up saying that before she got her memory back, she had that same vision. Yeah. But they were partners, so therefore
they were always together.
They were always together. So yeah. So anyway, it's
a lot.
As I'm talking, it sounds so exciting and so interesting as I'm saying it, but it's a lot. And what I will say is that the acting of the main guy, I'm not a fan of. You know how some people
he's isn't he Irish?
I don't know. I don't have any clue. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying that for me, he's not believable. Maybe that's what I'll say. And then I just don't feel like the writing is that great. Like, I am just like, some of the stuff that they say, I'm like, they're not going to say blah, blah, blah.
I feel like that happens a lot with the movies that Stanley Tucci are in.
I don't know.
It's like, it's great on paper, and then when you see it, I'm pretty sure he's got like, oh, God, I tried that one. I tried
I'll say this. He delivers his lines better than most. Like, I do feel like the lines that he has, even if it's predictable, you're like, okay, got it. Like he's good. Other people, I'm just like, they're not going to get ready to say this, are they? And then they exactly say what it is like you're expecting them to say. And it's like, okay. So I don't feel like there was a lot of, I can't say thought. I would say that it's not, I don't know, it's no depth, maybe. And anyway, so as we were getting ready to do this and I was looking up the cast, I was like, well, let me see what the ratings are for this. And really on Amazon, it's 4.5 out of 5. Like a lot of people like it. Almost 3,000 people have rated it already. But then right under that, Rolling Stone says Citadel is a $300 million disaster for Amazon.
Oh my God. That is horrible.
So there's that. So, and it was funny because I wanted to look that up because I was like, is it me? Like, am I the one that's just not getting it?
Is it me?
And so I was like, am I just the one that's not getting it? And so at first I was like, ooh, well, it's 4.5 out of 5. People are really liking this. And I'm only, for all the
honesty, people who work for Amazon.
Maybe. In all honesty, I'm in episode 4 right now.
Okay, yeah.
So I haven't finished the whole series. There was a good teaser at the end of episode 3 that I was like, this is the best thing I've heard since the whole show has been going on. So
maybe it might go into something good. That's how it was when I did She-Hulk. At first I was like, this is horrible. Yeah. This is the worst thing ever. And then I started getting into it and I was like, okay, yeah, I started liking it.
Yeah, so that is where I'm just like, ooh, now I'm getting into episode 4. So I'm like, is this little teaser that they gave something that is going to shift everything and then make it so that it doesn't feel like a $300 million disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. But anyway, so, but no, I was very, it's weird because I was thinking at first when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to check that out. And then when I watched the trailer the second time after it came out, I was like, I'll look at it at some point. And so started looking at it and I'm just like, whatevs. So, watch it or not, as you would say all the time. And it says that basically, They said, literally, the Rolling Stone, part of what it says is, too bad it's so bland.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, for so much action, that is exactly, I'm glad they said that, because that's exactly what was going through my mind. Is I was like, with this much action, why isn't it edge of your seat?
Yeah, exactly.
Why isn't it that you feel like you would
it should be suspense, like your heart should be racing,
because it's so predictable.
Oh, see, that's
so it's
horrible.
Action that's predictable, which, and then that's the guy, he's just not selling it for me. So, and I don't know if it's, again, the writing,
or the acting,
or if it's the acting, but either way,
I mean, it sounds like the writing. If the action, if you already know what's going to happen, I found it sounds like the writing.
But there's a few parts where I was just like, oh, okay, I thought this. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, this probably happened, but I could see where it maybe didn't happen. Okay. Like, somebody gets shot and you're like, oh, maybe they're dead, maybe they're alive. I don't know. And then you realize, like, it wasn't enough to make you get sold one way or the other. Okay. So when you get the reveal, you're like, yeah. By the time they reveal it to you, you're like, of course.
But yeah, we already knew this.
Of course I knew that. Yeah. Right, exactly. So it's kind of...
why are you revealing stuff that everybody knows?
Exactly.
What is this?
It's an interesting show. So I'm sorry I spent so much time talking about something that's watch it or not. But,
I mean,
Citadel,
everybody
Amazon
can make up
Prime,
their own mind.
Maybe it's $300 million of excellence, and maybe it's a $300 million disappointment that is so bad, as they said. It's too bad it's so bad. So anyway, that's what I have for the Citadel.
Right.
Next for you, sis.
All right. Every time you say the Citadel, I'm thinking
the Citadel, but it's
literally
just Citadel.
A Citadel. I don't know. But every time you say that, I keep thinking of Game of Thrones. Automatically. Because they had to go to the Citadel. But I don't know why I'm automatically thinking that. All right. So going into mine, this is on Netflix. And this is Queen Cleopatra.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yes, so this is like one of those docu-series.
Okay.
And I've done one before. I think it was called like Blood, Honor, and Blood, Sex, and Royalty. I think it was the name of it.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I heard something like that.
So this is basically like the same kind of thing, but this is about Cleopatra. So, now with Cleopatra, everybody pretty much knows the story. If you don't, go Google it. Basically the story of Cleopatra and Caesar. So a lot of people know that. A lot of people don't know how Cleopatra actually got into power. And she might not have been the best person in the world. She may have killed some of her siblings.
Wow.
She may have killed most of her siblings.
Good gracious. Okay.
So I don't know. Like, it's so much. It's like,
is it a movie or a series?
It's a docu-series.
A docu-series.
Yeah, so it's like a documentary. So it's like people talking, but they also have people acting it out at the same time. But
like Drunk History. No.
Yeah, it's like Drunk History, but sober and more facts. But I do like it. I like how they do the breakdown. Like, this would be so good in schools to make kids
understand
attention.
History.
Yeah, and pay attention. Because now you're not watching like, I don't know, the 10 Commandments to learn about Moses and all that other stuff. Now you're Ben-Hur. Yeah. Now you're watching something, that actually, it's like, oh, somebody made this. Now, I did not know when I went to watch this that the narrator is Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh.
Did not know that. Didn't pay attention to her voice.
Yeah.
But I was just also into it. But then also she has like that, she's talking really slow, very throaty.
So doesn't necessarily stand out like she normally talks around the red table.
Exactly. So now some of these people, I don't think I've seen them before, but I might have seen them on some stuff before. So you have Adele James as Cleopatra. You have Craig Russell as Mark Antony. You have John Partridge as Julius Caesar. And I don't really think there's anybody else you really need to know, really.
Okay.
Everybody, I mean, the main people that you need to know are just,
those
Cleopatra and Caesar, basically the main ones. All right, so just to get into this, so Cleopatra, she was a person who was like about knowledge. She wanted to learn as much as possible. She studied about everything. She studied all the queens that had been in Egypt, and she made her want to become a queen. So now with this being going on, her father's sick.
Okay.
So now her father, and I don't think she was the oldest. I think she might have been the youngest or the second youngest or something like that. Or like, I can't remember. But she was not. She was not the oldest daughter.
Okay.
I don't think she was the oldest daughter or the oldest child. So her father dies, and he was just like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna let you know this straight up. You can run this, and your brother's an idiot. So how we gonna do this is y'all gonna have to get married because this is like in the 17 BCs, and y'all gonna have to get married. And the reason for that is because back in this time, like nobody cares, nobody thinks that's weird.
Got it.
Nobody thinks it's weird that siblings are married. So y'all gonna get married. She gonna run, and he's just gonna kind of be here to be the face.
Okay.
Right. So now that that's happened, they end up not liking each other. Now, with all of this happening, there is the war, the civil war that is in Rome between Pompey the Great and Julius Caesar.
Okay.
Now, this is the thing that's the big thing that a lot of people might not know. Now, with Pompey the Great, he was actually Julius Caesar's son-in-law. Never knew that. How did I not know that in school? Powhatan County, pull it up.
Oh, God.
All right. So he was his son-in-law, but they were at war with each other. Pompey was actually for the upper class.
Okay.
And Caesar was for the lower class, for the actual people in the community, which I thought was kind of weird that his son-in-law would be the main person who's like the ruler, I guess, upper class. But I mean, I guess that's what happens. Like you want your child to marry into wealth at that time. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Right.
So basically from there, now that they are at war, the war is now starting to. Caesar is like beating Pompey bad, right? Now Pompey and Ptolemy the 12th. I keep saying Ptolemy because it's a P in front of it. Okay. Ptolemy the 12th was the king before Cleopatra, so that's Cleopatra's father. Now he and Pompey were like, they knew each other. It's like, yo, you my boy. Like, yo, look out for me. I look out for you. But then Julius Caesar, the thing with him was he was just like, yo, I don't care if you like Pompey or not. He did me wrong, so now I need to fight.
Oh, gotcha.
So now with this happening, they're starting to fight, and Pompey's like, yo, I gotta go to like get some supplies. Let me pop over to Egypt right quick and get some supplies. Because they're all in that little Mediterranean area. Let me pop over here right quick. He pulls up, and they're just like, all right, well, he's here, so how are we going to do this? Like, should we kill him so then Caesar could see our loyalty? And then Cleopatra's like, nah, we not killing this dude. Like, him and Dad were cool. Oh, okay. We're not going to kill him. Like, we're going to have to talk about this, whatever. We're not going to get in the middle of the civil war. Like, we're just going to try to be neutral as possible. What does her husband do? Her stupid brother? He cuts his head off. Oh, gosh. Kills Pompey. Then what does he do? Sends it to Caesar. Like, hey, look at what we did for you. Yeah. We got your back. We asked you for that. Caesar looks and's like, is that my son-in-law's head on the table? That is my son-in-law's head on the table. Now he's crying. He's just like, yo, this is a war between us two. Like, we were literally just, it was basically like them two fighting a war over basically whose junk was bigger than the others. That's basically how the war was.
But it was but it wasn't this serious.
Yeah, it wasn't this serious for you to chop his head off. Right. I just wanted to talk to him and tell him, yo, chill. After all these thousands of people have died, yo, chill. Come on, man. Let's go back to Rome. We can work together. Right. And now Pompey's dead. Now, Caesar is like, oh, so they sent me his head. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to set up camp in Alexandria because, that's what I want to do. And I rule all of this in this whole little Mediterranean area. So I'm going to just go set up a camp. Okay. When he does that, all of the siblings that Cleopatra has are like, what is going on? Why is this man like in the palace just making himself at home? Right. None of them wanted to say anything because they were just like, is it like, are we now taking over? Because did he take over us because we killed Pompey and we helped him and now like he's on our side? Or is he like trying to like colonize us? Like what is happening? What's going on? Right. And so as Cleopatra's trying to figure out what's going on herself, she's like, you know what, let me just go ahead and take care of my brother because him and his advisor, everybody, all of them had advisors. Him and his advisor, yeah, they screwed us. So yeah, let me go and figure out what exactly is happening with this. He's gonna be dead. He's gonna be dead. Let me go and talk to Caesar right quick. So she comes up. She's like, "Hey Caesar, how you doing, boo? You doing all right? You cool?" And from there, now they have this kind of like love-hate relationship where she comes in and she's like, "Yo, I'm sorry that my brother and now husband chopped off your son-in-law's head. I told him not to, but he did that on his own. He's a man. He does what he wants to do. But I'm the queen, so I'll let you know this. I will help you out with anything that you need, but I'm the queen. Understand
Right.
that?" So he's just like, "All right, well, come on, let's go and lay in the bed and get to know each other biblically." So then from there, she has a kid.
Okay.
And it's a son.
Okay.
So now she's in the, hey, yo, Caesar, so I'm the queen, like you ruling all of Rome, so your son is the next heir, and he never says anything. He don't say anything. He never gets into it. But then it gets into more, and this is like a 4-episode thing, and I think the episodes might be like an hour and some change apart. But it's 4 episodes. I'm on the 3rd episode, but it's going into Caesar dying and stuff like that. So I mean, but this is a whole history. But I just like the way they broke it all down.
Yeah.
Because in school it was like, yeah, Caesar.
Yeah.
And Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Slept together. They had a baby. And Caesar ruled.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go on to talk about such and such, Macedonia or something like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just like the way that it's, how it's all set up, how it's all played out, how you do have, it's going to be a new way of learning where you have the acting out as well as it's
like the documentarian part of it all, but the also acting out of it. So
and you know what?
Know that it's factual in what.
Yeah, I had this idea when I was so much younger about the Bible, taking the Bible and making it like a whole series, and then somebody had made a series, but how I envisioned it and how they did it was similar, but not exactly the same because I wanted it to be like this. Where it's like I'm gonna break this down, but you're gonna be able to see exactly what's happening. It's not gonna be like a soap opera.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome how they did that. So like I said, Queen Cleopatra on Netflix.
All right, great. Well, I have.
What's your last one?
Anna Nicole Smith.
Ooh.
You Don't Know Me.
You don't know me.
Yeah, well, that was.
that was Own Me. That's right.
But she's saying You Don't Know Me. Yeah. So, it is on Netflix. And it is about Anna Nicole Smith and her life. You know, she was born as Vicki Lynn Hogan.
Never knew that.
1967. She never liked the name Vicki. Actually, when she got a little bit older, she asked some friends to call her Nikki instead of Vicki because she liked Nikki better. And how she came up with the name Anna Nicole was because when she was working on the Guess jeans, because she used to be the spokesperson and model for Guess jeans. I think it was Karl Lagerfeld was the person with Guess, and he came up with Nicole. She came up with Anna, and that's how they became. How she became Anna Nicole was that the two of them were like, your name is too wholesome. It's too, it's not who you are today.
It's too Midwest.
Come up with a new name for her. But she was born in Texas, so funny enough that you say that. And, it's the story about her being young, and for her whole entire life, it sounded like she liked attention, and she liked, she wanted to get out of her little area of Texas. Okay. That was like 2,000 or something people, that lived there. She actually got married at 17. Oh, wow. To a guy that when she was working at 17, she worked at like kind of a KFC type establishment. And this guy who worked there, she, all the guys would give her all this attention because she was beautiful even, as a teenager. And so she was asking this one guy who worked there like, hey, I don't have a ride home. Can you ride me, take me home? And he was like, no. And she was like, well, you got a car. Like, why can't you take me home? And he's like, no, I'm not taking you home. And that was like a key for her. Like, what? You have the audacity to tell me, the person that everybody wants, that you're not going to take me home? I'm going to chase you until I get you. And then she married him.
Of course.
And he was a jerk and very jealous and all of that kind of stuff. So they weren't married forever. But she did have her son, Daniel, with this guy who was from her hometown that, was working at the KFC with her. It was a chicken place, but it wasn't KFC. Yeah. So anyway, so she, for her whole life, was like, look, I'm going to be a model. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to do whatever I could do to get out of this, podunk town, so you say. So basically, she ended up going to be a kind of stripper at a local location, you know. Okay. And it was funny because there's another lady who is on the documentary, because it is a documentary, but Anna had so much video of her that you have a lot of video that's actually her. And these are people who were extremely close, like her brothers. In this documentary that, you know, so, you know, it's kind of at the core, you know, of who people are that knew her. Somebody who was her best friend / lover. You have somebody who was like, it means basically a lot of people, uncles, different people in her life that are speaking on this documentary. And so basically they, the lady who is at the strip club, she is like, look, she came in there and she just, we knew those men were going to tear her alive, you know, like, she just looked like she was just like a deer in the headlights. She didn't know, like, she was in awe of the pole and, you know, just what all is going on. And so, but they said that within a couple of weeks, she had the men eating out of the palm of her hand. And she was just like, you know, that person that everybody, you know, she just had that way about her, that sultry way that could help men to feel like they could just forget all their cares and talk to her, even if she was just sitting right beside them, and they would give her whatever she wanted. And she would always make a lot of money, things of that nature. So what ends up happening is that she meets J. Howard Marshall, who was the older gentleman born in,
1908. I don't know.
He was already in his probably mid to late 80s when they started dating. And she was like, I don't know, 24, 20 something. And so basically what ends up happening, she might have even been younger than that, but what ends up happening is that he meets her, and he had just lost his wife, and he was in mourning, and she was nice and friendly and, you know, cordial with him. And so therefore he was like, whatever you need, whatever you want, I'm going to do whatever I can do for you. He bought her a home. They had horses on the estate, you know. He wanted to make sure that her son Danny was well taken care of. If anything happened to him, he wanted to adopt Danny. Yeah, he was spoiling her. He would just give her his card with an astronomical limit and be like, go do whatever you want to do.
Have fun. He's 90 years old. He don't care.
Exactly. And so now there were friends of hers who had said initially they really did feel like she cared for him. They said, you know, it was like, she had people who wanted her to do certain things the way they wanted her to do it as a model and a Playboy bunny and all of that. I didn't even get into that story yet. And then he had people who were trying to tell him how he needed to spend his money like his son because he was old, and they thought that he wasn't, you know, of his right mind, you know, doing all these things with Anna Nicole. But friends were like, look, they really had a special bond. It wasn't all of the sexual chemistry and all of that, but it was like he wanted somebody to take care of, and she needed somebody to take care of her. Yeah. She didn't have a father in her life growing up most of her life. That's another line of the storyline of her getting to know her actual father and what happened to scenario. Then you have where, you know, he just was like, I just want to spoil her. I want to take care of her. She is my lady love, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. So, so it was the right type of partnership for both of them at that time. And he had no regrets of, you know, doing what he could do to spoil her. As she got more into the drugs and different things that she got into, which they said ended up starting because she had her first breast surgery. Oh, so when she had her surgery and she was on the pain medication, they said that kind of followed her for the rest of her life.
It was oxys.
She didn't get off of that ever. Yeah. And she was doing methadone also and something else. So it was just different pills that they were giving her consistently. And so what ends up happening is that her friend who was at the strip club with her, you know, was with her all the time, even when she went out to go do Hugh Hefner stuff and become a Playboy bunny and, you know, be the person on the centerfold. And they have a whole story of how that even came to be and how she got on the front cover as well as Playmate of the Year. The gifts that gave her because she was Playmate of the Year, all that kind of stuff got incorporated into this documentary. But her friend was just like, I was staying at home with Danny because of the fact, Daniel, because of the fact that, you know, she had to go off and do all these things and she needed somebody to stay at that ranch and take care of her son. Oh, yes, true, so that was the friend that I was to her. Like, we were really, really close. And we may have had an intimate relationship as well.
They were like co-parenting.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, I really, really loved her. But as I saw what the drugs were doing to her, I realized that the more I tried to push her to get away from it, the more she tried to say, if you don't get it for me, if you don't help me, I'll get somebody else who can. And even one of her bodyguards had said that. So it's just like different people who, you know, you kind of, because they're in your orbit and you have such notoriety and you're such a personality, people do things for you. But it's almost like if they're not doing it for you, you cut them off. And so she just said that Anna Nicole became a whole different person. She became Anna Nicole. She was no longer Vicky to her. So she said that based on that, or even Nikki for that matter. So she said because of that, she had to step away and step back. And then she was just seeing her on TV like everybody else and was wondering if she was okay, you know? Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a sad scenario. But yeah, it's really about everything. How she came to rise. It's about how she was even like, look, I'll say whatever I need to say to be in the papers, period. Okay, point blank. If it's a lie, it's my life to tell that lie. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to say my mother was a horrible, abusive person who did this and did this and did this and did this and did this, and it's all a lie, I get 50 times more money telling lies than I get for telling the truth. So therefore, it's my life to tell that. And her mom is like, but how does that impact your family? Yeah, exactly, yeah. And she's just like, my life. It's like, okay, sure. And that's what her friend also from the strip club said, is like, when she was telling those stories, those were my stories that I told her about my mother, that I'm looking at her on TV and she's telling them as her own mother. And that was not her mother. Her mother bailed us out more times. She was in law enforcement. Wow. We would have been in prison if it wasn't for her mother coming to our rescue as we were just out here doing teenage and 20-something shenanigans. Running the streets. Exactly. And so yeah, it's really interesting. It goes into Danny Lynn's birth. It goes into her son Daniel's death, which I didn't realize that after she had her daughter, her son came to visit her in the hospital in the Bahamas where she had her daughter. Mm-hmm. She specifically wanted to have her daughter there because of the fact that she did not want the boyfriend, who now has custody of her daughter, I can't even remember his name now, but anyway, Danny Burkhead, she didn't want him to have custody, and so therefore she went there because they said whoever's on the birth certificate is the one who has the custody. Well, she had her lawyer, Howard Stern, not the Howard Stern shock jock, but the lawyer, as the father on the birth certificate, and that's why there was all this controversy about who's the father, and Howard was just trying to honor her wishes by having his name on the birth certificate. So the other guy couldn't get custody because that was the agreement, was that whoever I have the baby with, I don't care who it is, but whoever I have the baby with, they have no rights to this child. And now he has the child all the time. But her son actually came, visited her in the hospital like the day or so after she had the baby, and he dies in the hospital.
Oh, he dies in the hospital?
In the hospital, visiting her. The nurses come in that morning and he's dead in the hospital. And they said it was an accidental overdose of methadone and medications and stuff. And so she ends up being distraught, of course. You know, you're already probably going through emotions of just having a child, and then you're going through emotions of losing a child. Yeah. And within months, she had passed away as well. And so it's just,
And she passed away, 39?
Yep, 40, she was 39 or 38 or 39 years old, and it was just really sad, you know, just it was like a star that burned extremely bright. You know, you think of her and Marilyn Monroe kind of as people who, and she idolized Marilyn Monroe. And so it's just one of those stories. So again, it is Anna Nicole Smith, You Don't Know Me, and it's on Netflix. So,
all right.
Sis, what you got?
All right. So for my last one, I'm going to do it quick, but this was a really good show. It is a really good show. Okay. Still on. Bupkis is on Peacock. It is about the life of Pete Davidson.
Yay. Pete.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
I had to rewind it and show you and Mom that one. That one.
Show us a part. That was
one part, and it was the first episode, which makes it so much better. His life is hilarious, but then also sad, but that makes it funny because it's dark humor.
It is very dark humor, yeah. And he goes into the darkness of it in a comical way.
Yeah, in a comical way,
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he also has like you have those moments where you're looking at it like, yo, that's funny. He fell like into a grave, like a dug out grave.
Yeah.
And like fell onto the casket. Like, oh, that's funny. And then like everybody's looking at him and it's like, are you high right now? Like what's going on? And then it's like, oh, now it's not funny. Mm-hmm. But it is still kind of funny because he's playing it off like a joke, but then like his grandfather comes up to him and says something to him that he's just like,
and his grandfather is who?
His grandfather. Oh my god. Okay, let me go over the cast.
Yeah, go over the cast.
Let me go over the cast. All right. So you got Pete Davidson playing himself. You got Edie Falco, which Edie Falco is apparently on everything.
Everything,
now. Yeah. Edie Falco, who is Amy Davidson, who is his mom, and then you have the Joe Pesci.
The Joe Pesci,
who is playing Grandpa Joe.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you have some other people, but there are some what do they call cameos of people in here.
It's a lot of people in this.
Well, actually, Brad Garrett plays his Uncle Roy.
Yes,
he does play his Uncle Roy. But you do have Ray Romano who plays himself.
From Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah,
that's right.
He plays himself. Who else do you have? Steve Buscemi is only in there for like 3 minutes.
Okay, got it.
He's Father Matt.
He's a preacher, a priest.
That's
priest.
it. So I only see him in there. But I mean, the shows are still going on. It is 8 episodes, and I don't even know what episode I'm on. Like maybe 5, something like that. So you got Jon Stewart playing himself. I mean, Al Gore is in it. He's playing himself.
It's a lot.
MGK is playing himself as Colson Baker. It's a lot of people.
Bobby Cannavale.
Yes, I love it. Yes. So basically what it is that it's basically the story of his life. I'm pretty sure I can't tell if it's like ad-libbed, if it's fact or fiction, or if it's a combination of both. It could be a combination of both. But
yeah, like how much of the things that he has in here
really happened. Yeah, because if the uncle scene really happened, he's a great nephew.
Oh my god,
for that.
That's
I'm just saying,
crazy.
Yeah. So what's going on is that this is like his family. I'm guessing this is after everything is how this is supposed to go, but I guess this is just him living his life. His grandfather is actually dying of cancer. His mom is still like his best friend because it's always been him and his mom and his sister. Which I didn't even know he had a sister.
Yeah.
And then
he was still living with his mom for a long time, right?
Yeah, I think he's still living with his mom.
He might still live with his mom.
I think he redid the house and did a basement, which the basement is like his own apartment.
Yeah, I think you're
but
right.
I mean, hey, that saves money.
Saves money. Yeah,
shoot, do it.
True.
And then all of his friends come and hang out when he's not there.
Oh, when he's not there. Okay.
So
gotcha.
like he had to do a movie. So during Christmas he had to do a movie. Mm-hmm. And he is I think he's in Canada, and none of his friends come with him. Okay. Because it's Christmas time.
Okay.
So none of his entourage, and even his like personal assistant is like, dude, I cannot. He's like calls him. He was like, hey man, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing Christmas stuff with my fiance and her family. He's like, all right, that's cool, man. It sounds like it sucks. You should come up here to Canada.
He just wants his entourage.
Yeah, he just needs somebody with him. So basically, what happens from there is he is just on this whole like. He goes out and he gets drugs from some kids at a bowling alley, and then he's like in a K-hole, and then he's like doing all this crazy stuff, and then it's like he calls his mom because he's like homesick. He's like, hey mom, like, hey, what's going on? No, he FaceTimes one of his friends. Mm-hmm. Hey man, what's going on? He was like, wait, are you at my house?
Yeah, why are you at my house?
He was like, yeah, man, like, they were like smoking weed and watching TV or something like that. And he was like, wait, I invented that. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was very clever. He was like, wait, I invented that. And then his mom comes downstairs with a platter full of food for the guys. And she was like, oh, honey, I made all your favorites. I made this, this, and this.
For
he's
your
like,
friends.
He's like, thanks, mom, for making all my favorites when I'm not there to enjoy them.
Right, exactly.
Then he like hangs up the phone and stuff like that. So, but I mean, it is just so funny. It's so cute how all this comes in. Like his therapist is nuts, who's played by Charlie Day. Oh so you automatically know. Automatically know that it's nuts. His therapist is nuts. Yeah. He does have a love interest. I guess it's his ex-girlfriend, high school sweetheart or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And they have this, like, I love you, but we can't be together because this is not going to work. It's like, it could work. Toxic. It could work if I lived here, but since I'm going all over the place, this isn't going to work. Okay,
Gotcha.
But he talks about rehab. He has an episode where he's sitting down with John Mulaney, talking to John Mulaney about John Mulaney was apparently really bad on cocaine.
Oh, okay.
And Adderall and a whole bunch of like uppers.
Interesting. All right.
And nobody knew.
Okay.
So Pete Davidson makes a joke. He was like, "Man, I can't believe you didn't tell me." He was like, "Why would I tell you?" Because he was like, "Look, that would make you so much cooler." Because I mean, like, you had a suit on and everything, and like, you were just like in the bathroom, just like railing lines. Like, he was like, "That would make you so much cooler." And he just like, "No, you're an idiot. Like,
exactly.
go to rehab."
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, "I went like 7 times before it actually worked." But go to rehab. But I mean, I just think that it's kind of cool how they put this all together, and I think it's cute. So, like I said, it's called Bupkis on Peacock. You gotta watch it just for Joe Pesci, actually.
Joe Pesci is a treasure. I mean,
I know,
he's
right?
so funny. And I
Did
didn't
you
even
say
watch
Utes?
that much. I didn't even watch that much, but he is so funny on that. And and just the things he says, and it's like,
I know, God, Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
I
think he's going to probably get a lot more work because it's been a while.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
So I think that this will bring him back into the fold, and he'll be like Edie Falco. Full circle.
Right. He's full circle.
He'll be like getting on a whole bunch of stuff again, kind of like John Travolta with Pulp Fiction, and all of a sudden he was on everything. So go figure. But all right, everybody. Well, that is it for Sestra-Tainment today. Everybody have a wonderful day. Bye.